What is up, people? Back for some Beyond Earth. This is going to be a little different than my other guides. Most of my guides are built into my game. But after getting feedback from you guys and looking at my videos, I find that I'm very scatterbrained in my games. I talk about one thing, jump to another, jump back to this, jump up to candy canes, come back, you know. So I want to take this time. I'm going to make a little mini-series almost that I'm going to post in between guides, and I'm going to really hone in on certain aspects of the game for those videos. Some of you have asked me about tech web, some of you have asked me about orbital units, some of you have asked me about different things like that, so I'm going to take these videos and really hone in on certain things. These are going to be my advanced tactics guides. And I'll still do an advanced tactic game, but I want to cover these guides before I get to it, so maybe I can reference these instead of wasting too much time talking about it in the game itself. So this one's going to be about the tech web, obviously. First thing we're going to go over immediately is up here, we have the mini-map that lets us jump around the tech map if we don't want to, move around. In the top left, I think I just called that top left, that's top right. In top left, we have something that someone pointed out to me, so kudos to them for doing that. We have a filter, which if we're looking for a certain thing, we can find it. Do I want Harmony Tech? Okay, click, boom. It shows me all the Harmony Tech on the tree. Web. It's a web. Do I want to see the victory condition ones? Boom. Alright, this shows me anything to do with a victory condition. That was a really nice feature that someone pointed out to me. The other part of it is the search bar. If you want to find a certain unit or a building, you type it in, it pulls you to it. So, I want a solar collector, photo systems. I can click on it and it'll bring me to photo systems. Or maybe, planet carver. For that nice orbital destruction. Astrodynamics, boom, right there. Really nice feature, didn't even know it existed, but now you guys know. So kudos to the guy who pointed that out to me. The rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. So something that someone asked me to do was go over how I kind of pick my technologies, what I need. And it's basically, for the beginning of the game, I only stick within the first really 6 technologies: pioneering, engineering, physics, chemistry, genetics, and ecology. I almost never get planetary survey unless I need to cross the ocean. So those 6 are the ones I usually, 99% of the time, I will get 5 out of those 6 technologies before anything else, because they're quick, they're easy, and they all have important things. We're not going to go over every tech, but I will go over those 6 quickly. Ecology obviously gives you your miasmic repulsors and your ultrasonic fence, and it leads into a harmony tech and geothermal discovery. I normally default to getting this first, just because if I don't know what I'm going for, universally speaking, an ultrasonic fence is a nice thing to have, as well as vivariums and miasmic repulsors. So if I don't know what I want to get first, I get ecology first, almost all the time. Above that is genetics. This gives you your 2 health buildings. I don't get this first unless I'm going for rapid expansion. And of course you might be asking, well, why wouldn't you get pioneering first on a rapid expansion game? Because if I intend to expand rapidly, like in my ICS videos I'm doing, or did at this point, this will already be researched through my laboratory when I set up the game. So this will already be done, so this will be my next tech. Above that is chemistry. Chemistry is another one I can argue you should get first. Because it gives science, production, petroleum, and petroleum wells. The only reason I tend not to get it first is because in the early parts of the game, I don't usually need these buildings. And maybe that'll change as I get a little better at the game and can fit them in somewhere. And a lot of people make the argument for this. I see the argument for this, don't get me wrong, and it's probably one of the best first techs there is. I just tend not to get it first. Physics. Yeah, you have your launch complex. Yeah, you have your observatory. But the biggest reason I ever get physics is for rangers. It's your first ranged unit. It's great in conjunction with some other things. So, though it's not as useful as some of the other ones, it's nice to get a ranger, and you do need it to get into a lot of the better techs over here. And then engineering gives you your combat rover, your thorium reactor, your repair facility, and it reveals titanium. Now, good tech, I don't think I'd ever get it first unless I was playing a domination victory, because the mobile units, the extra gold to maintain my army, production for land units, reveals titanium, and it leads into defense grid, which makes my cities bulkier and harder to kill. That's the one time I justify getting engineering early. But other than that, once I pick my first tech, it's kind of, what do I need at that moment? Do I need to get a little more health? Do I want to get my trade routes going? Do I want to get some production? So I pretty much always get those 6 techs first, or at least 5 out of those 6 techs done. From there, it's totally sporadic. As most of you realize, there's really no kind of set pattern to how you should get these. So I go by, this is what I do. First thing I do is I say, I do short-term goals and then I do long-term goals. So short-term being, what do I need immediately? And the first thing I look at is, what do I literally need immediately? Like, holy shit, I need a ranged unit. Let me get a ranger. Though I would already have that, so that's a bad example. Maybe, alright, I need Firaxite really badly. And I have a bunch in my territory, but I can't get it yet. So let's get robotics. Like, things immediate. You really need these immediately. Like, I think I'm going to end up in a war, but my cities aren't going to be strong enough to defend against it. As they are, we're going to get defense grid, because the defense perimeter increases my city's hit points by 40. You know, I really need spies to know what people are doing and to get some more golden science. Or say, I'm going to go to war and I really need some heavy city hitters. We get computing for missile rovers and our spy agency. So those are really, like I said, short-term, immediate things you need done. That also includes quests. If you have a quest that requires you to get a certain tech, and you don't need anything, like, that's endangering your colony, like, the first priority should always be, if I don't get this, will I die? Like, is there a chance that I could lose this game? If that happens, if there's any tech where you ever say, if I don't get this now, it could kill me, get it. Don't even question it. You know, I actually had one of my first games I played, I didn't get defense grid because I'm like, I can survive. And then they went to war with me and totally wrecked my city. So, do that. From there, you know, quests and, you know, anything else that's really early stuff. From there, we go to long-term goals. And when I say long-term goals, really the only thing I mean is what helps you towards your victory. And this changes, obviously, depending on your victory. If you're going for one of the 3 victories associated with an affinity, then most of the time you will be working towards techs that involve that affinity. Because there's always something, you know, if you're going for, I'll take Harmony, you know, alien biology, done. Alien sciences, alien adaptation, alright, we got that. Let's go to alien domestication, and then maybe we'll work our way up to here to photosystems, and then maybe we'll work over to swarm robotics and tissue engineering. You know, when you're going for an affinity-based victory, you almost always have something to get for a tech, because you always do. That's kind of how it is, because you need to get 13 points for your affinity. So that will pretty much take up a huge portion of the tech web, just getting those. And it's also useful for, you know, if you have nothing else to build, say you're playing a Promised Land victory, and you have nothing else you really need at the moment, and you say, alright, I do need an the Exodus gate at some point. I don't have robotics yet, but I'm going to need it, and I don't need anything else right now, so we'll grab robotics while we're thinking about it. That's usually what I do, is either I grab something I need for my victory, or something that leads to my victory. For domination, that's usually units. If I say, alright, I have tac jets, I have most of my melee units, but I don't have an orbital unit yet, so we'll go get astrodynamics for planet carving, because that's a nice military bonus. Or for contact victory, you need astrodynamics to get your, is it astrodynamics? Maybe it's not, I could be lying. Orbital automation is the one that gives you the deep space telescope for a contact victory. So say you need that, we'll start working towards it. And so that's basically the pattern I go in, is things that if I don't get might kill me, short-term goals, victory goals. That's really as basic as it is. Now from there, obviously, with only those 3 to go with, there's a lot of conflict. Maybe there's 2 techs I really want. How do I decide between those 2? Well, the first thing is, what else does it give me? Does it give me anything else I'll need? Say I'm deciding between... say I'm deciding we'll go over here. Say one thing I'm looking at is tactical robotics. Say I really need a supremacy point. So tactical robotics versus power systems. Now, most of the time, when I'm deliberating between 2 things like this, I will pick the one that takes less turns. Because in general, by the time the easier techs are done, you will have more science, and the heavier techs will be easier to get. So a lot of times, how long a tech takes is a big factor on whether I'll get it. I tend to play on quick because I don't want to waste a bunch of turns. So a lot of times, if a tech takes any more than 25 turns, or even over 20 turns, I tend not to get it until later. Because I just like to have a constant flow of new technology coming in. I don't find it helpful to rush toward a certain tech in this game like I did in Civ 5 or 4. So, sorry about that. So, yeah, that's really a big factor. But let's say we're trying to get a supremacy point. And we're deciding between tactical robotics and autonomous systems. They both take the same amount of time to get. How do I decide? Well, let's look at what else they give us. That's an easy one. Autonomous systems give us nodes, which give us extra gold and heal our units, and Master Control gives us 1 culture, and also all worker units receive +1 movement. And Tactical Robotics gives us the CNDR, which is a really nice early game unit. Well, maybe I'm preparing for a war, then I'll take Tactical Robotics. Maybe I'm not preparing for a war, maybe I want a more economic game. I'll do Autonomous Systems, because the nodes will give us more gold. It'll also help us have a really strong, if we do get a war waged on us, and that worker improvement is nice. So that's really how I decide my tech. In a nutshell, it's not any more complicated than that. So just to summarize quickly, first I look for, I'll call them dangerous techs, meaning if I don't get them, it could risk me doing well in the game. Then short-term techs, like quests and buildings I need and units I need. Then victory, long-term techs, what do I need for my victory? What techs do I need to get to my victory? What affinity techs do I need? La-di-da-di-da. And then, once you play that method, then when you have multiple techs you need to decide from, how many turns it takes, how quick it is to get, and then which one has extra benefits that will help me more in this situation. I mean, that seems pretty basic, but it really is, really, that's really all there is to it, I can't say, some of you might have been looking for a direct, how do I get the fastest tech tree for a Transcendence victory? Do I go here, here, here? Do I go here, here, here? There really is no set way to get there, because this game really depends on what's around you. It's not like Civ 5 where you can I'm going for a science victory, so, rush to universities and then rush to the next science building. That's not really how this game works as much. You basically just jump. It's really it. You jump around, grab the affinities you need. I try to grab the ones that are easier to get at that point in the game, and then balance getting affinities with the things you immediately need, and you'll be doing fine. You can get through very high difficulty games just by doing that. It's just about really practicing and knowing what you need. But that's really going to be it for this video. Please like and subscribe for more content. Let me know what you think of this mini-series and leave comments with other things I should focus in on this mini-series. You guys have been doing really good with leaving me comments. I've been taking your feedback in and trying to make my videos better. If you have any more questions involving the tech web, ask me. I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. And that's pretty much it for this video. I will see you next time. Don't let the siege worms kill you.